Well, we're going.
Awesome.
Okay. What's up, Daniel? How's it going?
Not too shabby on this end. I mean, things are going pretty well. Just enjoying a lovely Friday here in Southern California here.
Yeah, right
But
on. Yeah, we just before we were started this, we just found out we're like what, 30 minutes from each other?
if that, yeah.
Not crazy. We should have done this in person, but this is good too.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So you're the ice cream king.
Yes, the king of ice cream is my moniker. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a hard fought title, but I'm proud to bear it all the same. Um, it actually started. I mean, like at first it was literally just I started calling myself, so I was like the self-proclaimed ice cream king. And
Hmm.
then after a while, like other people they start proclaiming me as well, so I was able to drop the self-proclaimed portion, and then it just grew from there. So I was like, you know what, I am the ice cream king, so that's a thing now.
That's
And
good, man.
yeah,
Just
definitely,
embrace it. You have to.
exactly. Roll with the punches on that one.
So okay, so what does the ice cream? Well, you have the ice cream king, the king of ice cream.com. Is that what it is?
Yes, that is the domain name.
The
Yes.
king of ice cream. So what do you? How do you describe that site to people?
So it is a hub of ice cream reviews and news, literally just expanding people's knowledge about different things happening in the world of ice cream, crazy unusual flavors I've tasted, and kind of like fun and quirky ways of describing said flavors. Similar to a lot of food bloggers, they all kind of have a very fun and lighthearted approach to as they describe the various food topics they're indulging in. Myself, in particular, I indulge in ice cream. I have been to every single state in this country in search of the best ice cream in every state. So I've, eaten well over 400, 500 different flavors, eaten at, probably around 250 different ice cream shops. And if you give me like a major city in the U.S., I could probably point you in the direction of some good ice cream. So
Oh, nice, man.
something of a self-taught authority in the matter, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So how long have you been doing this now?
So I had been eating ice cream and reviewing ice cream for years. It started back in my days of college. I don't know if you're familiar, but July is actually National Ice Cream Month.
Oh, wow,
So
I didn't know that.
yeah. So during the month of July, during college, what I would do is I would try to eat a different flavor every single day, and then write a small snarky review about the said flavor. So it was started out like a tweet's length, and it would just be posted something small on social media, and then like as the month progressed and then as years progressed, it just got longer and longer reviews until they were like full on essays. And then people were like, "Why don't you have a blog?" And I was like, I don't have a good answer for you. I don't know why you don't have a blog. So then I looked into getting one, and then worked into making a blog. Still write the snarky, fun reviews, and kind of over the years of my National Ice Cream Month, the things I would do for ice cream get crazier and crazier. So basically, when it started out, I raided a Ralph's or some local grocery store, got a bunch of different pints of ice cream, and I probably ate like a pint of ice cream a day for like the 5 weekdays, and then on weekends I'd travel to ice cream shops. And then so towards as I was kind of growing, I tried to focus more on ice cream shops, more on crazier flavors, do crazy things with ice cream. So like it was like the summer of 2016. For that, the end of that National Ice Cream Month, I finished with an ice cream cleanse, which is eating 5 pints of ice cream a day for 3 days and no actual solid foods, and then you're supposed to like cleanse your body of toxins and lose weight. It's it's a vegan ice cream shop in Venice, California that does it. And they were featured, I think, on GQ and a couple other places. So I was like, I gotta do this myself. I convinced the owner, Miss Kippy Miller, to like make a special batch of it for me because she only does it during like specific times of the year. So she made me a batch of this vegan ice cream, and I did that, and that was like after a month of already eating ice cream like every single day. So finished off that month with this like diary journal of what it's like to eat ice cream 5 times a day for 3 days straight, and it's more difficult than you think. Like even for a guy like me, that likes a lot, it was no walk in the park by any means. So then after that, people are like, "Shit, what are you gonna do next, man?" I'm like, well, I haven't even thought about it. I was just trying to get through this month, let alone not even trying to plan for the future. And someone was like, "Why don't are you gonna want to do next? Like travel the country?" I was like, "Maybe." So the following spring, a bunch of stars aligned, and like I just had this inspiration to quit my corporate job, use all the savings I had saved up, and then travel the entire country in search of ice cream. So I spent the next 10 months from there just traveling, like I said, the entire U.S. And then ate myself silly with ice cream. Only gained 2 pounds in the process, which is like really, I
Wow.
feel like that, is probably one of the biggest accomplishments of the whole thing. Uh, and then following that, I was like, I participated or I should say, I used a lot of my life savings, like everything that I was going to use for like housing and adulting and all that, nonsense. So I went through some of those savings, but I didn't go through it that fast because I did Couchsurfing along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of your listeners who might not be familiar with Couchsurfing, it's a website app where you request to stay at strangers' houses, sleep on their couch, and it's like completely free. And it's like a mix between like it's like the Rotten Tomatoes of people in some ways. You just because after every person stays with you, you say yay or nay whether you like them or not, or whether you would like let them sleep on your couch again, what your experience was like with them, and then from that way you can get whether or not you would want to let someone in the future have them sleep on your couch or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because I was the crazy ice cream guy, everyone seemed to really enjoy hosting me. So it wasn't
Right.
difficult for me to find places to stay. Um, and then from there, so after my 10-month journey, I didn't necessarily have as low a savings as I thought I would. So I was still able to continue my adventure further. So I reached out to some of the best ice cream shops I had visited on my travels and asked if they would want to take on an apprentice. So the following summer, I road tripped, drove from Los Angeles to Maine to apprentice at an ice cream shop there and learn everything about the ice cream business. Everything from what it's like to make ice cream, how to develop the flavors, different types of cream, all that stuff, and then like everything about running a small business, which is absolutely mind blowing how much stuff goes into it. So I feel like I have, for like the rest of this interview, what have you, I could either talk about like what I've learned as an apprentice or just about crazy things while traveling. It's totally up to you. Like,
Man, you've done that's like so crazy. So, okay, this started, I think you said it was like 2016 is when you did that 10-month thing or that cleanse?
I did the cleanse in 2016. Spring 2017, I quit my corporate 9 to 5 to travel the country.
Okay, so this is fairly recent, man. You've done a lot since then. It's crazy. You've
Yeah,
like,
it's a year and
yeah,
a
you
half. Yeah,
and you've been to all 50 states, tried all these different things. It's crazy, man. You jumped in and you quit your job to do this. It's awesome.
yeah. Thank you.
Crazy. So
That is
what, I
quite.
mean, well, just real quick, I guess, what's next is going to happen now?
Whew, that is a good question. I'd say one of my goals when traveling the country, when creating the blog, everything, was to ensure that I did not grow tired of ice cream. So a lot of bloggers, will tell you like if you're trying to do it to like get rich or turn into a business, you have to like treat it like a business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never really had that aggressive an approach to it. I was always, the very lighthearted. Ice cream is something fun. I should be doing it because I'm passionate about it. Something because I love it. Um, so I think I'm going to try and continue that mentality of making sure I'm always having fun while doing this. I'm always enjoying it because at the end of the day, if I lose my love of ice cream, then it's like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Totally.
so as far as like career moves or anything along those lines, I think I'm going to try and keep it more in the realm of passion as opposed to financial burdens and obligations associated with it.
Okay, I see. So you'll probably get a quote real job or something soon.
Something like that, yeah, yeah. Something
Okay.
that allows me to still pursue this as like a side thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can respect that. So it stays fun. That makes sense. So can you just tell me more about the ice cream apprenticeship that you had?
Yeah, definitely. So it was with Rococo Artisan Ice Cream in Maine. They're about 7 or 8 years old. It's interesting because in Maine, it's a very specific ice cream season. The population of Maine is not sizable to say the least. The town that I was living in was like population less than 10,000 people.
Okay.
So hardly anyone. If you're from Long Beach, you know that they have like literally hundreds, thousands, millions of people living there. Um, where so population 10,000, total culture shock. But Maine is known as vacation land, so that's like their tagline, state moniker, what have you. Um, so basically, between I think it's Memorial Day and Labor Day, population like explodes by like 5 to 7 times. So everyone from the entire New England area has like vacation homes up in Maine. So like when you're going 50, 60 down like a surface street during the spring, during the summer you're in like bumper to bumper traffic. So it's like this interesting dichotomy between having absolutely no one there and having too many people in there. So it's really kind of fun and interesting in that way. But the side effect of that is their ice cream season. The business is only open like 6 months out of the year. Like they're open from pretty much when it stops snowing in April until like early October, and then after that they close for the winter. My ice cream master, she leaves the state of Maine because it starts getting really cold and terrible climate there, and she will like vacation in South America or South Africa or somewhere warm south of the equator, so she could kind of chase that endless summer, so to speak.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when were you there? What time frame were you there?
I was there from early April until a few weeks ago in October when we closed
Oh.
this.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
So this just ended.
It did. It just ended.
Gnarly. Crazy. So what kind of stuff were you doing there like day to day with them?
Oh, that literally everything. So uh, everything that it takes to run the business. I learned about ice cream production, making it, developing new flavors. I had the opportunity to open a new storefront of ours. So everything that goes with opening a new business, I had to, secure build-outs, work with contractors, secure equipment, supplies, hire people. Like I literally did everything for this new location of our business. It was crazy. Um, it was called the Test Kitchen, and that's where we'd invent. We're known for like some of our more unusual flavors. Here we'd like throw science to the wall, see what sticks, like batshit crazy flavors, and then we'd run them in super small like runs, and then just see what performs the best, what people enjoy the most as far as our weird concoctions, and then see about maybe rolling those into like recurring regular flavors at the other storefronts.
Oh, that's cool. So what were some of the weird like crazy flavors that you guys did?
Um, we did one of them that was like the most surprising. I'd say we did a spinach ice cream base with a strawberry balsamic swirl.
Huh.
So it's a very light spinach base. It's not like eating a heavy salad, but it did have a nice, beautiful green tint to it. And then when you add a strawberry balsamic swirl, it's almost like a strawberry jam that has a tint of the vinegar bitterness. So it just really accents the it's because it's not a very heavy sweet spinach base. It is very. It's not savory either. It just kind of has that neutral salad element to it. But then when you get the sweetness of the strawberry with that little hint of the bitterness of the vinegar, it creates this amazing, crazy flavor combination.
Whoa.
And so like that was like I'd say one of the ones I was most surprised by, just because like you invent something like that to almost satisfy your creative inner artist. You don't necessarily think that necessarily everyone's gonna respond well to it, but it surprisingly like sold and had a decent number of units sell. So that was one that was surprising. We did uh, one of the ones that was like very polarizing was the one that we finished off the season with, which was a pine essence with sea salt and blueberries.
Okay.
So that one's like eating blueberries in a forest, and then that's probably the best way I could describe it. Like so, yeah, you take distilled pine needle essence. There's a company in Oregon that does that, makes edible pine essence. Um, and then you take that, put it in a sweet cream base, add a little bit of sea salt, and then once that's kind of made into the base, you add a blueberry jam swirl throughout, so you have this almost marbly um, type of look, where you have this blue swirl throughout a kind of more paler white base. It's really interesting. I say it's polarizing because I will admit, like this is the throwing science to the wall kind of thing. When I developed that flavor, it was the pine scent is really strong to smell, but very hard to taste.
Oh,
So I
okay.
added probably a little more pine than I should have. I will admit I made that mistake. Then, so when the flavor came out, some people were like, I'd say at least 80% of the people hated it. Like, they would try it, they were like, dear God, what abomination is this? Like, some people described it as like blueberry pine sol, and I'm like, that's a little hurtful, but I appreciate the honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were like the remaining 10, 20% absolutely loved it. They're like, I've never had anything this unusual. Like, they're described as very outdoorsy people. They love camping. They love chewing pine needles and stuff like that. And
Oh my
so
gosh.
they that 10, 20% was able to like float enough sales that was actually surprisingly a decent seller, despite the fact that like the vehement vitriol of hate that the majority of people felt about this flavor.
Right.
Yeah,
That sounds
so
good, man. I want to try that.
it is super interesting. I mean, it is a boundless, endless frontier of what you can do with ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool about are there a lot of most shops do that where they'll kind of just experiment with stuff and then throw it out for a second? Is that's not really common?
No, I'd say probably 80%. I don't know. This is an anecdotal. I don't have any statistics to back this up, but
Right.
based on my travels of going to all the different ice cream shops around the country,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say most of them. First off, probably majority of ice cream shops, like, it's hard to say how much they're actually making the ice creams themselves versus outsourcing specific ingredients, recipes, flavorings, what have you from other companies.
Yeah.
So you kind of get that kind of gray area there. And then beyond that, I'd say like, that 1%, 5 to 1% or whatever, that are really trying to like push the boundaries and do crazy flavors. They're probably the ones that would want to experiment with flavors. They run them in small batches, see if it sells well, and then we'll see about having it either as a seasonal flavor or putting it, as a rotating flavor. That's pretty common. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'd say it's definitely amongst the minority, but I'm not gonna say that our shop was the only ones that were doing it either. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. That sounds fun to find a shop like that and then go to it like, once a week or whatever and try the new stuff, just the crazy stuff.
definitely, it would really depend on how quickly flavors sell out. So
Uh,
basically, like, because we do one batch of it, and then like, unless people love it, we'll never make it again.
oh,
So
that's crazy.
yeah, we did one flavor that sold out in 3 days, and we were like, holy cow! This was a local collaboration. There was like a chocolate tier shop like 2 doors down, and so they made this one thing called the Evil Chip, which was like potato chips that had been covered in caramel, then covered again in chocolate. So like
Oh.
that's pretty delicious. So we took that concept, deconstructed it, asked them to make us some in more of a flat thing, and then so we chopped that up into little bits and then put it in a salty sweet cream base. So basically just sweet cream that's had Mediterranean sea salt added to it. So you get this crazy balance between sweet aspects from like caramel, chocolate, whatever, and then salty aspects of the salty sweet cream, as well as the potato chip bake or the potato chip that's been mixed in. So that one was like really well received. Not only just because it was tasted good, but because everyone loved the fact, oh, they're like local collaboration, really supporting small businesses. Like, I
Yeah.
love this chocolate next store, and so like I said, I just
Mm-hmm.
sold like bananas. That was probably the fastest seller of the entire summer.
Man, crazy. Yeah, that sounds good. Do you know of any shops here, like in Long Beach or LA area, that kind of do this something similar to that?
That's yes and less than yes in that. So for Los Angeles, for example, I'd say the common one that you would note as having like crazy concoction flavors would be like salt and straw.
Yeah.
Um, they and I say less than yes for them just because they're technically from Portland, Oregon. Like they started there, then had like really successful 4 locations in Portland. Then they moved to LA. They opened up some shops here, and they just been like slowly taking over the West Coast. So they
Mm-hmm.
have them in Portland, then Los Angeles. Then they opened, I think, one in San Fran, and then they recently, I think within a year or two ago, they opened one in Seattle. I don't
Wow.
know what their expansion rate is or anything along those lines, but they definitely experiment with interesting flavor profiles. and I know for a fact they do this kind of endearingly adorable thing with local schools where they'll have like elementary schools just invent a crazy flavor, and then the kids will vote on them, and then they'll try to turn those crazy flavor ideas into reality, make actual flavors out of those ideas, and then all the proceeds from that flavor, all the revenue that's generated, goes back to the elementary school. So it's
Oh,
like really kind of endearing and sweet that they do that. So that's a part of their invention process. I mean, you have literally also in West LA, you have like Scoops that was featured on BuzzFeed, where they had like a bunch of on the Worth It. It was a BuzzFeed Worth It or something like that. And they do a bunch of crazy flavors. Like there was like a chocolate Cuban cigar or something like that flavor. Um, they have a bunch of rotating flavors. Long Beach, I'm trying to remember. I think the Long Beach Creamery has some interesting ones. They're a little bit more tame by comparison to the others, but they
hmm.
definitely do some stuff. Um, yeah, just trying to think. Afters, I mean, they're based in Orange County. They do a lot of very trendy stuff. So if there's something that is a trend, they will capitalize on that and make a very Instagrammable creation. Like
Oh, I see.
with the bisected donuts ice cream sandwich. I don't know if you've had
That's
those.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, man. They just opened a Salt and Straw at downtown Disney here, even in Anaheim.
yeah, I heard
Yeah.
about that.
So
Yeah,
they're like expanding like crazy.
for real. Like I said, taking over the West Coast.
Yeah.
So
Like, so do you know if they have like people kind of creating their own stuff at each kind of shop, or are they, since they're kind of growing, is it just become, more like, I don't know, franchise style where just serve what we tell you?
I like to think I'm pretty sure they have core flavors that are probably be standardized across the board. At the same
Yeah.
time, when I was in Portland, I went to the original Salt and Straw, and they had flavors there that weren't necessarily available in LA. And in LA, they have flavors that aren't necessarily available in Portland. So
Okay.
there is some autonomy that allows them to do what they want, but there are specific ones that like we know this is a crazy flavor that sells well. You should include this also. So
Right.
it's kind of a little column A and B in that way.
That's good. I like that. Sounds like they're balancing that well, because it seems tough, because you would want to grow your company obviously
Exactly.
and expand, but you want to keep that like local feeling. So it sounds like they're doing a fairly good job at that,
Indeed, indeed.
which is good. Um, so on your website, you say that it's the golden age of ice cream right now, right?
That is a true statement.
So why is that?
I mean, if we think about it, just like objectively, I don't think we've ever had so many different types of ice cream, so many different with I'd say the evolution and creation of the internet, how interconnectivity happens, like this idea that in some ways the world is getting smaller as far as ice cream ideas go. Before you had, the idea of tie rolled ice cream, which are for the people that aren't familiar, it's like you go to a thing like an ice cream shop, they take cream, put on like this flash freezing pan, and then they use these like paint scrapers to like roll it into rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like that used to just kind of be a thing in Thailand, like, but with Facebook, fucking Instagram, YouTube, what have you, then suddenly like they realize this is something that's really interesting. People like to try it, and now like every major city has at least one of those types of Thai rolled ice cream shops.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's something that you can say, good or bad, in terms of like, oh, does this mean that you're it's kind of moving away from this nostalgic, like classic type of ice cream? There are some people that make that argument, whereas I'll say uh, the opposite is actually true, where you actually kind of have the splitting divergence of these two concepts as far as this original creating really far out there ideas, things that are trendy, things that you haven't been seen before, and then there is that also at the same time like a return to a classic idea of what is an ice cream shop. And these return to classic ideas, I'd say, definitely happen in probably more rural, small conservative towns. But that isn't to say they go away. And a lot of them stem from this idea that like there are local creameries, there are dairy farms that make their own ice cream. And the idea that, they'll serve more of the classic players because their business primarily goes into like shipping out wholesale dairy, they still give off that very quaint feel from, a bygone era almost of going to a local dairy farm and getting, your chocolate or your vanilla or, your salted caramel, what have you. So I just think that we're starting to see slightly less of maybe corporate franchises, and starting to see more of this artisanal sense of whether it's a classic or something that's pushing the boundary, or if it's something that's just a part of the trend. But I've seen ice cream shops where there's like Baskin Robbins or Dairy Queen's closed, and then another ice cream shop will open in the exact same location. It'll just be packaged differently as far as like the flavors they introduce or the ownership or what have you.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than it's not. I don't know. There's a lot of nostalgic stuff attached to ice cream and the whole experience of going to the shop and everything like that. There's a lot to it.
Absolutely.
That people love. So, what would you rather have like a pint at home on the couch in front of a movie, or would you rather go to an ice cream shop?
So there's like two ways to answer that. My like go-to canned answer is just say I say there's a time and a place for every flavor. So there's a time to binge watch Netflix and get like Chunky Monkey or some Rocky Road or something disgustingly messy all over your face while on the couch. And then there's also a time where you want to go and try something new at an actual ice cream shop. So there's definitely both ones. I'll say there are slight differences between the two, specifically if you're considering like price, effort, flavor availability, option choice. Those are all things that I take into consideration when determining between the two. And not to mention just like consistency and texture, because most people who eat a pint of ice cream know it's never as soft, it isn't as, it doesn't always have the same level of deliciousness as it would in an ice cream shop. Part of that just comes from the reason that, like, in order for it to be served, bought at like a grocery store, what have you, there's dairy laws in place that say it has to be shelf stable for like a year and a half. So they have to put preservatives in it, which kind of change the flavor profile a little bit.
I see.
Sometimes why the same flavor in pint form may taste different than it does at an actual ice cream shop.
Okay.
It's a slightly different recipe that goes into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what makes like really good, like what do you look for when you're looking for like high quality or like artisanal kind of ice cream?
That is also kind of a loaded question in terms of it really depends. Am I going alone? Am I going with friends? Am I going for the sake of trying because I saw something online about them? Am I going just because they literally caught my eye and I was like, I need ice cream at this moment in time, and they are the quickest way to satiate that desire? So there's really kind of a lot of things that go into like the mental process, but I will say that if you want to just objectively state or objectively kind of judge like higher quality ice cream, the World Dairy Products Association, I think, I'm probably saying that wrong, but there's like a thing that talks about like cream level in terms of heavy cream, how pure it is, if there's any additives, what the monetization process is like, if you're doing straight ice cream base or a custard base, or there's like literally so many different things that go into like determining what type of objective criteria you want to determine if it is a good ice cream or not. But I'd say probably the most important one is, what are you feeling at that moment? Like, you lactose intolerant, maybe you should probably go for like either a sorbet, maybe like a vegan flavor or what have you, like, or are you willing to risk it? Are you willing to suffer the gassy finish for a dense, heavy base? Like, really, it just comes down to you as a person. And there is no right or wrong answer.
Right, yeah. That's a good answer. You don't discriminate against people that like love whatever ice cream. Because like when you buy like just at the grocery store, you pick up like a pint of Ben and Jerry's. It's like the same weight as like a huge gallon of that like crazy party ice cream stuff.
The
That's
party
like,
milk. That's
yeah, that stuff is just like it's so light and airy. It's weird.
and I mean, and that's part of the strategy too. Like you're literally whipping in more air, so you don't have less cream. There's more volume, so that you kind of have higher margins in terms of profitability.
Right.
So there is a time that you might want a lighter, airier ice cream, or there's a time where you're like, give me that dense stuff. Like I want to be comatose after finishing a pint of this.
Yes.
So,
yeah, dude. Okay, I saw this. I haven't noted this here. I think I saw this on your site or something. You mentioned the World Ice Cream Index. What is that?
so there is an international competition in Ireland every year that talks about different ice cream shops located all around the world. And I entered our ice cream shop, the one I was apprenticing at this past summer, into this competition. And our shop came in first. So ranked number one in the World Ice Cream Index.
Right on.
Take that, Ireland, and like France, all these other countries that also entered. There were a bunch of places in the U.S. too, and I had been to quite a few of these shops that we ended up beating. I was like, you have some good stuff, but we edged you out, so take that.
Nice, dude. So what was the qualification on it? They were just tasting your ice cream, your flavors and stuff, or was there more to it?
So it was a heavy social aspect in terms of trying to do social campaigns, developing that, and then you'd also send in a sample of whatever your signature flavor is, and then an international panel is supposed to judge you based on the flavor profile.
Makes sense. I see. So what do you think? Is there like a world capital for ice cream, or like place where you go to eat ice cream or learn more about it or something?
That's just as biased and subjective as what's your favorite flavor,
Right.
Because there's so many different types of ice cream. Specifically, if I was to, stereotype regions, I'll say like New England in general, just they're very much known for that dense, heavy ice cream that comes from, the types of cows they use. They just specialize in that dense, rich ice cream. There's other places around the country that do exceptional jobs. Excuse me, like Wisconsin, just the nation's dairyland. Like I don't think I had a single bad ice cream while in that state. So they do some great stuff. It really all kind of depends, like I said, kind of what you're looking for. I haven't tried as much international. I mean, obviously, if you're talking like ice cream, you can't have that conversation without talking about gelato. And then obviously, Italy is the home of gelato. There are specific types of ice cream that are originate back to like ancient China or like in the Middle East, and they have in the Middle East they have this like stretchy type of ice cream that I'm drawing a blank. Can't remember what it's called. I can't find it, but it's definitely big in Turkey.
It's like stretchy?
Yeah, it's really weird. It's almost like a cool taffy made with milk and sugar. I don't know.
Wow, interesting.
Booza, I think, is what it's called. Yeah, so they are supposedly like some of the originators of what some of the first cream-based ice cream is. If you literally go into the history of ice cream, some people will also argue that like the first concept of that even dates before that, but that was more of just like a shaved ice kind of thing, or close to maybe a sorbet. So it wasn't truly. So that's just an argument for historians in terms of debating what constitute as ice cream and where the first ones come from. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's probably just like anything. Like it's just slowly developed into what it is today. And then with all the different types of it, even too, it just depends. It's just regional. Things happen.
Very much so.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of banana ice, like anything banana flavored, really. But like banana ice cream or banana milkshakes, man, that's what I'm all into.
That's hilarious.
So,
Just because I had this conversation with someone else that was a fan of banana milkshakes a week ago today. It was last Friday.
oh yeah,
Yeah, we were at, I think it was a Fat Burger, and he was like, you know, man, like you never get banana milkshakes anywhere, and he was like complaining about the lack of representation that banana has in ice cream form. So the
yes, I
fact that
agree. I think it's expanding though. I think I'm seeing it more and more places. More people have banana ice cream. And I went to there's a banana museum in like kind of Palm Springs area, and they had a delicious banana milkshake there. Um, but have you come across any like noteworthy banana ice creams that you can remember?
A couple. So, I mean, you can't have a banana ice cream conversation without talking about Chunky Monkey first.
Yes.
That has high sentimental value to me personally, just because, it's gotten me through some tough times in life. So I won't ever have this conversation without at least giving that asterisk to Chunky Monkey. But as far as banana ice cream and banana milkshakes, there's a great place in Minneapolis, Annie's Parlor. They're specialized in milkshakes. They have a banana chocolate milkshake that I literally just I wrote a blog about that not too long ago. And it is very reminiscent of the old school shakes and malts where it's thick and lumpy and has like equal parts of I think it's a vanilla base with chocolate added to it and then blended up banana. So you get like the actual banana chunks in it. It's as fresh as possibly can be. And yeah, it's that $5 shake that they talk about in Pulp Fiction that is just a high quality shake.
Yeah.
But it's seemingly nothing special, but it's special all the same.
Yeah, totally.
And then you have like a bunch of there's some other places. There's Van Leeuwen in New York City. They do a fantastic vegan banana. It's like banana bread almost, and it's like a banana muffin. I would say, probably the eating equivalent of what it's like. And it's really interesting just to taste that in like cool creamy form. There isn't chunks of the actual muffin mixed in, but it does. That is like identical to what it tastes like.
Man. Whew.
They do some good stuff. There's there's a great other banana milkshake place in Las Vegas called Holston Shakes and Buns. They do alcoholic milkshakes, which are
Huh.
delicious. So there was one, I think it was like Monkey Business or something, or something has monkeying around. I don't remember what it's called, but it had something to do with monkeys. And they use banana liqueur in their banana base, and yeah, other.
Nice. Yeah. And
Those
well, it's like cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try some of those. I'm gonna write some of those down. But what's crazy too is that the like I'll go to a place and get like the banana milkshake or whatever, but then you go like a few days later and try it again, and it's different because it depends on the bananas that they use and how like ripe or whatever they are, which I like. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote about. There's a place actually in Redondo Beach. It used to be on PCH called Baby G's, and they had a banana ice cream that, like, exactly what you're saying. It was, I don't know what happened. They didn't let the bananas ripen, and it was like starchy, like has that borderline sour note to it, and you're like, this is like the equivalent of a baby that was released into the world too quickly. This is, sour. It is like, yeah, definitely is just a grumpy sourpuss in literally every regard. And so
hmm
it is interesting how the ingredients can impact hugely what the flavor profile is like and the eating experience.
Yeah, totally. It's all about the ingredients and stuff. Did you say that place was Baby G's in
Yeah,
Redondo? Okay, I think
yeah.
they have like they're kind of famous for like ice cream sandwiches or cookies or something, right?
I don't know if they're famous for that. I know there's other places that are famous. Cool House is specifically famous for those.
Yeah.
The cookie sandwiches. Baby G's. I know they were like supposedly also really famous for their waffle cones because they like have the freshest made waffle cones, like by the
Right.
Brady's. Had a nice
Okay.
little bend to it. Like so, it was a waffle cone that was warm. It wasn't too dense or heavy. It didn't have too sharp of a crisp to it. It just had a nice little bend to it, but perfect and fresh.
Yeah, I think I've been there, but yeah, it's been a while, but I don't know for
They
sure.
have since closed. It is no, or they are at least no longer on the same location on
Oh,
Peace.
okay. Okay, I see. So what do you think is the worst ice cream you've ever had? Like a flavor that you thought might work, but it was just
Well,
horrible.
I've had, I'd say I probably have like a historical top five worst ones. Like,
Okay.
let me, the top five worsts, I would say Ranch. There's a place in Philadelphia, Little Babies. They made
Ranch
a
ice
ranch.
cream.
It's exactly what the name promises, and it delivers, and it is awful. I respect them for trying. They did like a bunch of other crazy flavors, some that worked, but ranch was not one of
Hmm.
them. Another one I'd say that was pretty bad was a chocolate cardamom sriracha granola.
Oh.
And that was the sriracha just ruined it. Like I love sriracha, I love spiced ice cream. We have that dichotomy mix between heat and coolness together. But in this thing, it was just pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I was in St. Louis, Missouri. There was a sweet pea ice cream that was like I imagine this is what like healthy parents like want ice cream to be. So
Yeah.
like I could get my kid to like vegetables by like sneaking it in ice cream or something like that. And really, it doesn't make kids like ice cream. It just makes you hate that ice cream. And you're like,
Yeah.
doing no one any favors there. It was like if I'm not against vegetables in ice cream because I literally talked about the spinach ice cream, but it
Mm-hmm.
needs to have some sort of flavor profile that is accented by something else instead of just the straight like vegetable taste.
Yeah.
That one was bad. I had a garlic chicken ice cream in Las Vegas once,
Huh.
and that was I don't know. I've had garlic ice cream before. I've had other savory meat ice cream before that weren't bad, but this garlic chicken together was just abysmal. Um, and then I had, I think probably like rounding out the bottom five would be I had a French lavender one that was just way too potent in the lavender.
Mm.
It was like I described it as like eating potpourri, and I likened that to my grandmother who had just passed away recently, and it kind of like the taste reminded me of what her house smelled like. So it's like this is like eating the creamy corpse of my dead grandmother,
Oh man.
and so that one bottoms out. I'd say the worst, the historical worst five.
Jeez, man. Yeah, some of those sound like they might have potential, but I guess what's nice is you could generally you could just try a taste of it, get a
Yes,
sample of
exactly.
it before you have to buy a whole scoop, huh?
Sure, exactly. So
That's a good bonus. So try it if you see something crazy, at least try it, right?
exactly, give it the college effort. Like I've been pleasantly surprised trying some of these things. Like there was one time I said like I had tried other savory ice creams before. I had it was the barbecue burnt ends in St. Louis, Missouri, and that yeah, it takes barbecue like a sweet, tangy, spiced barbecue sauce with the actual meat chunks. Put it in like a regular cream base, and I was like I was shocked at how much like I didn't hate it. Like so, am I gonna say it'll change your outlook on life? Probably not.
Hmm.
But it might change your outlook for the day.
Yeah.
It might give you something that you hadn't considered before. And I was like, you know what? This isn't bad considering. So
Jeez. That thing had actual chunks of meat in it?
yeah, they used the barbecue burnt ends from like this famous barbecue place in St. Louis, Missouri. I forget what it's called, but yeah,
Wow, man. That's cool. That's fun what people are doing.
yeah.
So okay, so what do you think is like the future of ice cream? Like what are we gonna what new innovations are we gonna see?
That's I think only time will tell that one. There are
Yeah.
things that I tried to help contribute to by using pine essence. Like I don't think I had seen pine in many foods, let alone ice creams,
Hmm.
prior to like coming up with that idea, which was actually the idea of one of my interns that I hired. So props to him actually. So he came up with the idea, and then I was able to help add on to it and then bring it to life. So very much can be a team effort and collaborate these things. Trends you can never really always predict what a trend is going to be.
Hmm.
Otherwise, marketers would be paying people millions and millions of dollars to just predict whatever next trend is. capitalize on it and make a boatload of money. Um, but I do think I am hopeful that this space is going to continue to evolve, and that like I will be ready to taste all of it when it does.
Right. It's exciting. The future is exciting.
Yes. We're in a golden
Cool.
age now, and I think we're just going to continue the golden age for decades to come. Like,
Yeah. It's great. Good to hear. Positive ending to this, I think.
yeah.
Cool. Well, man, thanks so much, Daniel. I think you are the king of ice cream. I think you live up to that, sounds like. So I guess can you tell everybody again, just to recap, where your website and any social accounts or anything that you have?
Yeah, I have my website blog. It is thekingoficecream.com. All one thing includes the word "the" in it. My social Instagram account where I post pictures of like random crazy ice creams I taste is _King of Ice Cream on Insta. Um, haven't been as active there recently, but you know, who knows? As I try new things, I'll post images about it. And then one day, I'm attempting to write a book about my travels eating ice cream, and
Nice.
I already have a cool title for it. So one day, if you ever see a book called "The Cream of the Couch," like that's my book. So
Nice,
hopefully,
man.
the publisher will also think it's good enough for that. So
Sweet. Cool. Good luck with the book.
thank you.
Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for talking and taking the time, man. Appreciate it.
Definitely.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
You too.
All right, bye, man.